They want to bring Bruce Lee back to the screen with the help of algorithms? That explosive rumor ignited heated debates among movie buffs worldwide. Is this genius or heresy? A bold new frontier of cinematic expression, or a travesty that betrays everything classic films stand for? Today, we dive headfirst into the swirling maelstrom of artificial intelligence in filmmaking, guided by the restless energy of a Chinese movie industry that seems determined to push the outermost boundaries while Hollywood remains gripped by uncertainty. What exactly is going on behind the red curtains of the Chinese film scene, and how will it forever reshape the global entertainment landscape? In this episode, we confront the most dramatic shifts in film production, unravel how technology takes center stage in the war of cultures, and ask the big question: will the heart of cinema survive this unstoppable digital wave? We are about to immerse ourselves in a captivating tale of two cinematic powerhouses, Hollywood and the Chinese film business, locked in a philosophical dance around the future of entertainment. In the United States, the very word AI can trigger anxious glances, heated discussions, and urgent demands from directors, screenwriters, and actors, all fearful of being replaced by lines of code. But across the Pacific, the Chinese approach to artificial intelligence in film is forging ahead with relentless zeal, determined to reshape the medium in ways that break every traditional rule. In this story, we will unveil how China's leading foundations are teaming up with powerful studios to resurrect iconic kung fu classics, reinterpreting them with advanced technology that promises a vibrant revival, yet also sparks moral and creative dilemmas. Are we facing the dawn of infinite possibilities, or is this a dangerous gambit that could erode the soul of cinema? Here is a glimpse of what we will uncover: the bold partnership between a government-adjacent foundation and media giants driven to license a trove of Hong Kong martial arts films for global audiences. We will look at the astonishing plan to transform beloved masterpieces like Police Story and Once Upon a Time in China into animated reimaginings powered by algorithms. We will explore Hollywood's profound misgivings. Is artificial intelligence a brilliant collaborator, or a destructive force that robs directors and actors of their creative dignity? We will dig into potential expansions beyond film, including interactive video games and immersive experiences that let you walk into a legendary bamboo forest duel. And let us not forget the personal stakes for the luminaries themselves. How do the families of Bruce Lee and the likes of Jackie Chan respond when confronted with these new AI-driven endeavors? Stay tuned, because we will also dive deep into the behind-the-scenes drama, the quiet tension between American filmmakers struggling to protect intellectual property and Chinese entities that see no reason or obligation to restrict AI's potential. We will consider how big names in Hollywood are tempted by cost-saving measures that AI might offer, and why they remain anxious about an industry revolution that could render many creative positions obsolete. Yes, we are going to traverse the friction between progress and tradition, technology and artistry, possibly unearthing raw realities behind the silver screen. And along the way, we will see how the unstoppable advance of artificial intelligence might echo well beyond the film sets, touching each of us who cherishes the magic of movies. If you find yourself fascinated already, then please feel free to show a little support and tap that like button. It lets us know you are on this journey, ready to uncover more about the remarkable collision that is shaking the very foundations of film. Now, let us begin with a question that cuts to the core of this debate. What happens when a country with a potent sense of ambition, minimal labor constraints, and a fervent fan base for martial arts decides to harness AI in ways unthinkable to many in the West? Consider the case of the China Film Foundation, an influential entity operating under the wing of the Chinese government. While Hollywood's creative community rages about directors' visions being compromised and performers' likenesses hijacked by digital manipulation, the China Film Foundation is pushing forward with an unapologetic plan. Take 100 kung fu classics, from the comedic stunts of Jackie Chan to the majestic precision of Jet Li, then breathe new life into them with advanced artificial intelligence. The stated goal is to reach younger global audiences, especially those who may have heard of these legends but have never felt that rush of cinematic adrenaline that soared freely in the kung fu epics of past decades. One of the centerpieces of this ambitious scheme is an AI-driven reimagining of John Woo's iconic work, A Better Tomorrow. Can you imagine scaling back a full production team from hundreds of specialized artists to a skeleton crew of a few dozen, all leaning on cutting-edge technology to replicate motion, lighting effects, even the emotional nuances once painstakingly achieved by cinematographers and choreographers. The Foundation is convinced that innovative digital tools can capture the original spirit of these martial arts masterpieces while presenting them in an electrifying new format, dynamic animation that fuses Wu's trademark visual grammar, slow-motion explosions, swirling doves, chaotic gunfights, with special touches conjured entirely by algorithms. But what does the legendary John Woo himself think of these developments? Interestingly enough, he has not exactly been guiding the project. As it turns out, rights to A Better Tomorrow have passed through different hands over the years, and the Foundation's plan did not even show up on Wu's radar until whispers found their way to his ears. While he has expressed polite curiosity about the final outcome, is that the same as a director's wholehearted blessing? And more pointedly, how would he respond if the final product veers into territory that distorts his original vision in ways he never intended? Meanwhile, the Directors Guild of America has made its stance clear. AI as a tool may have its place, but they fiercely reject the notion of rewriting or tampering with an existing film so that it ends up bearing little resemblance to the original. This stance harks back to older fights, in which directors vigorously opposed colorizing black and white classics, or editing out scenes deemed too provocative by certain censors. Today, the worry has leaped to an entirely new frontier: digital algorithms that can do more than alter the color palette or remove a scene. They can replicate an actor's appearance, change their dialogue, or place them in novel sequences that never existed. Is this a leap forward in cinematic artistry, or a distressing incursion on creative legacy? Of course, none of these American tensions appear to alarm China's entertainment titans. Shanghai Kangxing Culture and Media Company seems wholly enthusiastic about licensing these films to AI companies, forging content that, in their view, might help the classic kung fu genre flourish again in the hearts and minds of viewers. They aim for worldwide exposure, building a platform to present AI-enhanced film experiences that might otherwise require a massive budget. In the eyes of some Chinese executives, AI is not so much an optional new tool. It is the inevitable next step in the evolution of cinema, a step that must be embraced or risk being left behind. In a sense, it is easy to see why. The new technology can speed up crucial tasks. Post-production that used to take a team of visual effects experts weeks to perfect might now be done in a matter of days, or, in some extreme cases, even hours. Dubbed dialogue, once the bane of many global releases, can be swiftly generated by speech synthesis that closely matches an actor's original voice. Scripts can be compiled, reorganized, and even tested for audience appeal with minimal human intervention. The Chinese film industry, which has exploded in significance with countless new theaters and improved production facilities, evidently sees in AI the route to stand at the forefront of a cinematic revolution. That does not sit well with everyone. To many people in Hollywood, China's readiness to exploit AI with minimal regulatory oversight portends a more radical upheaval than anything they have yet envisioned. Hollywood's labor organizations, from the Writers Guild of America to the Directors Guild, have been rallying to prevent the exploitation of AI in ways that might cannibalize jobs or undermine creative control. One might ask, where do the big American studios stand? Some have quietly formed alliances with AI startups, believing that a streamlined production process might save millions on budgets. Conversely, they remain hesitant to trumpet these collaborations too loudly, aware of how vocally opposed many directors and actors have become regarding having their likenesses consumed by a digital pipeline. That is not the only controversy swirling around AI. The use of copyrighted scripts, character designs, and entire cinematic catalogs as training data has ignited legal battles in the United States. Major entities like the Walt Disney Company and Universal Pictures have already taken steps to sue upstart AI companies that appear to replicate well-known imagery. While these lawsuits are sure to shape the legal frameworks for many years to come, they also reflect an underlying anxiety about the unstoppable proliferation of generative tools. More and more, it seems that if video content, screenplays, or even an actor's face can be learned by an algorithm, it can then be reproduced or remixed in ways no one authorized. But in China, with fewer guardrails in place, the open playing field invites experimentation that American creatives watch, with a mixture of wary fascination and creeping alarm. Some industry watchers note that the entire Chinese market perspective is unshackled by the same concerns that plague US creatives. There is not the same tradition of film labor unions, nor is there a well-entrenched culture of holding large corporations accountable for how they manipulate or repurpose artistic works. If thousands of jobs vanish and new ones appear as a result of advanced technology, many in China might view that as a natural part of progress, rather than a disaster that calls for protests and boycotts. Naturally, the families of iconic martial arts legends like Bruce Lee have a different perspective. Those who hold the intellectual property rights to Lee's image and performances were caught off guard by this announcement about a massive revival of classic films. They were apparently given no notice of the new projects, prompting questions about whether long-standing artistic legacies might be overshadowed by the swift march of technology. Bruce Lee's persona is revered around the world, his life and philosophy a subject of deep admiration. Yet now, it seems that an AI system can repurpose his likeness, or even generate a digital version of him that might speak new lines or perform stunts never captured on film. What would the martial arts master himself have said to that? All these swirling controversies circle back to a single core question. Does reimagining a classic with algorithms preserve its essence, or does it compromise the spirit that the original creators poured into every frame? From the perspective of younger audiences, many of whom have grown up in a digital realm brimming with short-form online content, the idea of an AI-generated update might be enticing. Imagine seeing an advanced, visually stunning retelling of Once Upon a Time in China, complete with glorious animated kung fu battles and an energetic soundtrack tailored by data analysis. For some, that spark of novelty could reignite interest in a legacy that might otherwise lie dormant in dusty archives. For purists, though, the notion invites heartbreak. These cherished films carry the soul of their era, capturing the intangible chemistry of on-set camaraderie, the sweat shining on an actor's face in the real Hong Kong summer heat, the spontaneous magic of a stunt gone slightly off script but immortalized on film as an iconic moment. Letting an AI engine replace that intangible charm with code might feel like turning living art into a synthetic product. The Directors Guild's outcry is just a reflection of how deeply some creators believe in that intangible essence, one that, they argue, simply cannot be formatted into neat lines of data. And lest we forget, the potential ramifications of AI mastery might go beyond reworked kung fu scenes. Advanced generative technology can manipulate beloved figures in ways that could overshadow the original creators entirely. With a bit more polish, the lines between genuine footage and AI-generated illusions may blur, potentially sowing confusion among viewers as to whether they are watching historical performances or newly invented sequences. For a government or an entity that wishes to spin particular narratives, the capabilities can be staggering. How do we, as consumers, safeguard the cultural and emotional truths that we hold dear when an algorithm can stitch together previously unthinkable scenes or dialogues, all with uncanny realism? These tension points may well go unresolved for some time, especially because the pace of AI progress seems only to accelerate. Even as the Directors Guild fights for rights and constraints, the incentives for studios, both in the United States and in China, loom large. A streamlined, AI-driven process promises fewer labor costs, fewer logistical headaches, and theoretically unlimited creative options. According to some insiders, the same technology that can expedite production can also open the door to interactive experiences that once lived only in the realm of science fiction. Picture walking into a specialized theater where you, the viewer, choose how a duel between Jet Li's character and a rival should unfold. Or imagine an immersive environment where you slip on a virtual reality headset and engage with reimagined scenes from Police Story, hearing the slicing echoes of blades colliding as you stroll through meticulously reconstructed alleys. On one hand, it might be a dream come true for longtime fans, a brand new way to immerse oneself in these timeless stories. On the other hand, does this interactive twist inadvertently overshadow the intended narrative that the original director conceived? This brings us to the broader question: who, ultimately, controls the outcome of these revived properties? The Chinese Foundation has extended an open invitation to global partners, indicating that they not only want to push AI visuals, but also to develop martial arts video games and immersive content. They have promised effectively unlimited revenue sharing for certain collaborators, signifying that the horizon is wide open for transnational synergy, an offer that might lure Western companies that dream of capturing the enormous Chinese market. With tens of millions of potential fans, no shortage of capital, and an official government push to expand cultural soft power, it is no wonder that China stands at the cutting edge of this wave. Yet, as you might suspect, many prominent voices within Hollywood alert us to the hidden price. If top-tier stars or directors can be replaced, or at least partially supplanted, what does that mean for creative careers? Not every actor or screenwriter has the clout to negotiate protective clauses that keep their likeness out of AI's digital clutches. The risk of an entire subset of creative professionals being sidelined is real. After all, the notion that a team of just 30 specialists could rework A Better Tomorrow into a new AI animated adventure hints at a not-so-distant future where entire departments might be considered surplus to requirements. Here is another important moment to reflect on the wonders and perils of modern filmmaking. If you find yourself excited by this astonishing fusion of martial arts heritage and artificial intelligence, please feel free to subscribe so you can keep track of every new development in our ongoing exploration of the film industry's breakthroughs. Because, truly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As we circle back to the main narrative, we realize that the unstoppable momentum of AI is not simply about re-rendering visuals or exploring interactive storylines. It burrows into the creative process at the script stage, changes how we experience film in post-production, and ultimately influences the broader cultural conversation about authenticity. Americans pride themselves on forging dynamic entertainment that resonates with global audiences, but they are also bound by powerful labor unions, legal structures, and a deep-rooted culture of artists' rights. China, on the other hand, prioritizes fast innovation, monumental scale, and quick adaptation to the latest technologies, seeing in those factors the key to fulfilling a lofty ambition, telling Chinese stories to the entire planet with more gusto than ever before. This sets the stage for a competition that might transform how movies are made across the globe. Hollywood risks losing its power if it clings too tightly to tradition while ignoring the leaps that AI can offer. Chinese studios risk igniting worldwide blowback if they brush aside questions of artistic integrity and intellectual property. Somewhere in the middle lies a future that might skillfully integrate advanced technology with the precious intangible spark of human creativity. Could that future preserve the best elements of the original classics while forging new ground that excites younger generations? We must not forget the legendary status of these martial arts films. Bruce Lee's magnetic presence turned him into a timeless cultural icon. Jackie Chan's comedic timing and jaw-dropping stunts left audiences in awe across continents. Jet Li's graceful mastery elevated him to a near-mythical status. Can artificial intelligence replicate that intangible spark? Or will it, ironically, reveal what is so essentially human about the best martial arts performances, that intangible sense of danger and improvisation that no algorithm can faithfully duplicate? Interestingly, some critics argue that this digital transformation could bring about a renaissance for martial arts films. They see audiences who might have never watched a vintage Hong Kong action flick gravitating towards spectacular new AI animations. Perhaps these reimagined versions will fan the flames of curiosity about the originals, driving new fans to discover the classics in all their nostalgic glory. Or maybe the convenience of on-demand digital remixes will overshadow the originals, leaving them buried in an endless sea of algorithmic content. For now, we observe two dramatically opposed philosophies. In one corner, the West, with all its caution, legal fights, and fierce advocacy for the protection of directors' and actors' legacies. In the other corner, a China defined by its resolve to push forward, with only faint apprehensions about stepping on creative toes. The result? A cinematic arms race of sorts, where each side claims to champion the future of film, but they define that future in starkly different ways. Still, not even Hollywood can ignore the obvious potential of AI to streamline budgets and pivot productions in new directions. If a medium-sized studio can churn out a state-of-the-art animated film with minimal staff, attach the brand power of Jackie Chan, Jet Li, or Bruce Lee, and then unleash it onto a world hungry for the next big spectacle, success could rapidly follow. That success, in turn, might compel even the most reluctant creative to re-examine their stance. When technology opens the door to bigger profits, how many studios will hold on to their old methods out of principle? In this unsettled landscape, there is one near certainty. The conversation about AI in film is only just starting. As more AI-driven remakes or expansions of classic titles appear, controversies will erupt, lawsuits may proliferate, and yet a portion of the audience will undoubtedly be mesmerized by the novelty. We may see new patterns of fandom emerging, where a new generation attaches itself to reimagined versions, while older fans cling to the quintessential spirit of the original motion pictures. This clash of sensibilities, between reverence for tradition and euphoria for the new, could define the cinematic debate of the century, uniting or dividing viewers across cultural and generational lines. Will China's more hard-nosed, unflinching approach triumph as the wave of the future, or will Hollywood's cautionary stance prove prescient in its warning that artistic legacy must not be so easily tampered with? The stage is set for epic showdowns, not merely on film, but in legal courts, film festivals, streaming platforms, and the hearts of viewers. Perhaps ironically, the same technology sparking this global friction also holds the promise of cross-cultural collaboration unlike anything we have seen before. After all, if advanced AI can automatically translate and localize content, then a kung fu epic re-engineered in Shanghai can instantly find an audience in the United States, the United Kingdom, or anywhere else that might share that flicker of excitement for a legendary martial arts duel. What remains crucial, though, is whether creators will be respected, whether families of revered icons will have their blessings sought before a digital version of a departed star appears in a new role, whether directors will maintain the final say over the tone and substance of a project, even when that project relies on an AI pipeline to save time and money. The answers to these questions will shape not only the livelihood of tens of thousands of film workers, but also the stories that define popular culture for generations to come. As we step away from this enthralling journey, we find ourselves on the threshold of a cinematic future that is simultaneously full of promise and burdened by ethical quandaries. The path forward may be paved with machine learning breakthroughs, enabling spellbinding visuals and immersive story dimensions beyond our wildest dreams. Yet it may also be fraught with regrets if we lose sight of the human soul embedded in every frame of the classics we cherish. Whatever the ultimate verdict may be, the unstoppable synergy of ambition, technology, and cinematic passion is coming to define our era. Will it spell the reinvention of timeless epics and storytellers? Or will it tear down traditions that have defined film's emotional resonance for more than a century? Only time will tell. One thing is certain, the conversation is alive and louder than ever, and we invite you to remain on this electrifying ride with us, discovering how AI and human creativity might coexist or collide in unforeseen ways. Thank you for being part of our exploration. In the coming weeks, we will continue to monitor the AI revolution across other facets of entertainment and beyond. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the triumphs, the pitfalls, and the urgent controversies shaping the future of movies. If this blend of classic cinematic magic and bold technological transformation interests you, we look forward to having you with us again soon.